Hey guys, it's James, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking through how to make this crochet jumper. I've made this a few times before where you have the graphic panel at the front to one side and the rest of the jumpers just mesh. The one that I made today, I made it quite tight fitting and I decided to make it a little bit cropped. But obviously the fit is completely up to you. I'll talk you through the dimensions as we go through the tutorial. But yeah, you can customize this how you want, whether you want to change colours in the mesh. I've done that a little bit, but that's simply because I was running out of wool and it's second-hand yarn, so I can't buy it from anywhere. But I mean, I don't mind the look. I think it looks good. Enough of me talking. Let's get on with the video, and I hope you enjoy the tutorial.
So for materials, I used 150 grams of DK yarn in my project, but bear in mind that the jumper that I made was cropped. So if you're planning on making a bigger project, you'll probably need more wool than this. I use this cotton yarn in green and this black yarn. I think this goes really well together, so I didn't mind mixing an acrylic and a cotton yarn, but this is all up to personal preference. I also used a 4.5mm hook just because I wanted the single crochet panel on the front to be quite loose. Also, you'll need a pair of scissors and some darning needles. Starting off with a slip knot, I'm going to chain 25. This is going to be our cuff, but we need to also bear in mind that in this pattern we do not increase or decrease in our sleeves. So this also needs to fit around the top of our arm. So what I would do is I would start by chaining 25 and see kind of how that looks. And if you want to increase or decrease the size, you will increase or decrease in 4s. So this is the length of the 25 chain stitches, which fits halfway around from my armpit to my shoulders. From this 25th stitch, I'm going to then chain 7. Now, chain 7 is going to act as our double, triple crochet and chain 3. So this is a number that will be repeating throughout the pattern. So from this 8th stitch, we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 chains. And then into this 4th chain, that's where we're going to do our double, triple crochet. So in total we're skipping 11 chain stitches and we're going to go into that 12th stitch. After doing that double triple crochet stitch, I'm going to chain 3 and then we're going to skip 3 stitches and then insert into the 4th stitch. We're going to carry this pattern on all the way down our chain until we've reached our last stitch. Once you've reached the end of your chain row, I would have another look at the sizing and gauge if this is the right size for the project that you want to make. Once you're happy with the size, you're going to chain 7 to act as a turning chain. So now we're going to do our double triple crochet and we're going to skip the 3 chain stitches and put that on top of the double triple crochet. And then we're just going to repeat the pattern of chaining 3, skipping 3 and then doing our double triple crochet. For our final double triple crochet, we're going to place that in the chains that we did before, and we're going to skip 3 chains and put it into that 4th chain. We will then continue the pattern of chaining 7 and doing our double triple crochet, and then we'll chain 3, skip 3 and do our double triple crochet, and we'll continue this pattern down the row. For my sleeve I did 22 rows, not including that first chain row. You can adjust the length of your sleeve by adding or taking away rows. Now we'll finish the sleeve. I'm gonna chain 40, and this is gonna be how we're gonna start adding the body to our project. So if you want your project to be longer, you need to add more chains. And just as with the start of the sleeves, you're gonna add or take away the length in 4s. To gauge how long you want the project, what I would do is I'd hold the top of the shoulder, so where a seam would hit on a jumper, and then you can see how long the jumper will be. Because of the graphic pattern that I'm going to use later, I need at least 60 stitches to work with. These obviously include chain stitches, so if you're planning on using the same graphic that I did, I would keep that in mind, that you need at least 60 stitches in your row. So as we did before, from that last 40th stitch, we're going to chain 7. And then we will skip 3 of the stitches from that 7th chain and go into that 4th. So in total, we will be skipping 11 chains and going into the 12th. And then we'll just repeat that pattern of doing our double triple crochet and then skipping 3 stitches and going into that 4th, and then when we get to the end of the row we will chain 7. I'm going to add a total of 3 rows to the body before I add my graphic panel, but this is totally up to you because I want the graphic panel to sit on my left side. That's why I'm going to add less rows to this left side of the panel. How many rows of this stitch you add before your graphic panel is completely up to you. As I say, because I'm putting my graphic panel on the left, I'm going to do less. However, you're more than welcome to do more. This will not affect how you have to sew in your project later. So I have completed these 3 rows of double triple crochet, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking, the size, so I'm ready to add my graphic panel. To start this graphic panel, I'm going to be using single crochets. You're more than welcome to use a modified single crochet as it is a graphic panel, but I do not mind the way that a classic single crochet looks. So my first one is going to go above my double triple crochet, and then I'll place 3 around the chain 3, and then that 4th one's going to go into that next double triple crochet. And you're just going to complete this all the way down the length of our body until we have gone through all of the stitches. And for our final stitch, we're going to do our 3 single crochets around. However, because this is our 7 chains, instead of going on top of our double triple crochet, our final single crochet is going to go into that 4th chain. To double check that you've got the right amount of single crochets on your line, you'll get the number of holes across your body, times it by 4, and then add 1, and this is how many single crochets should be in your line. So including this first row, I have done 4 rows of single crochet, and on this 5th row, that's where I'm going to have to start introducing this new colour for this graphic. So to change colours, I complete half of the action of a single crochet, and my final yarn over is going to be with that new colour, where because it's the first time I'm using it, I'm just going to do a slip knot and use that. I'm following this grid pattern which I made myself. but obviously this is up to you. You could leave this panel blank, or you could put in your own graphic if you'd like. I would just bear in mind, obviously the width of your panel is going to affect the size of your final product. But yeah, obviously this is all up to your personal preference. So this graphic is 27 grids tall. However, I added 4 rows beneath and 1 row above to make 32 rows. I've simply done this just because it makes it easier when it comes to making an identical panel without having this single crochet panel. I'm showing you how I do graphic crochet. I don't really mind about having a bad side. This doesn't bother me, but this is all up to personal preference. There's a lot of ways that you can do these graphic crochet grids. I can always make a video on this if you want. I'm just showing you kind of the main method that I would use in a jumper or something like that, where you are just going to see one side. So I've completed my crochet graphic panel and I am now going to chain 7. If you've done the 32 rows that I have, you should be starting from the same side that you started your single crochets at the start of your graphic panel. So we're coming out of this first stitch, we're going to skip 3, so we're going to skip the 2nd, 3rd and 4th and do our double triple crochet into that 5th stitch. And we're going to carry this on all the way down, and if you're doing this correct, you should start to see that these line up with your opposite side. So I have completed 6 rows in total to finish off the width of my body. You can obviously add and take away rows as you wish, and I would just kind of eyeball this to kind of gauge what size it is. And once you're happy with the width, what we're going to do is we're gonna either attach our yarn at the top of our work where the top of our sleeve is, or if you're already there, that's calm, that's what happened with me. And now we're gonna mirror the sleeve onto this other side. So because my sleeve was comprised of 6 double triple crochets and that chain 7, so there's 6 holes in total, I'm going to do that on the other side. Also, I did 22 rows, not including the chain row at the start for my sleeve. So that means for this sleeve, I'm going to do 22 rows, following the exact same pattern that we've been doing for this mesh stitch. And then we'll do what we've done before, where once we get to the end of our row, we'll chain 7 and turn. And I would just suggest as your first row, you just double check that you have actually made the width the same for both of your sleeves. Don't mind the lighting change, it's the next day, but I have completed this first panel, and I've also made a back panel using an identical method, but instead of this single crochet graphic panel, I've replaced the 32 rows with 8 rows of that double triple crochet chain 3 skip 3. So this is up to you. You can just do the same panel again and not include the graphic crochet, or you could do 2 graphics, one for the front and one for the back. So I'm going to start attaching these 2 panels together. I decided kind of where I wanted to start on the collar by pinching symmetrically on both sides where I think the collar would start and just gauging the size. So my first single crochet that I'm going to do is going to be actually in the double triple crochet, and this is just for stability. But for the rest of the length, I'm just going to do 4 single crochets around both of the 2 bars. And then once we've done that, we'll just move straight on to the next kind of space and put those 4 single crochets in there. Obviously, you can sew this. This is completely up to you. I've found that not putting single crochets into the bars, apart from at the start and the end for stability, gives me the best result, but you can do this however you please. So I've done this 4 times just to do all of the sides of the jumper, and finally we're going to add kind of a mini collar. Now this is completely optional, you can leave this just as is. I just kind of fancy adding a little bit of stretch to the neck. So I'm going to find the middle stitch in the back of my project, and for me that's actually in the middle of a bar, it's not on the actual stitch. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets, and I'll add my 3rd one once I've finished this row, just so then where I've attached the row is in the middle. This is just personal preference again, and I'm going to stick to the pattern of doing 3 single crochets into the space and then doing that 4th single crochet into the top of that double triple crochet. And when I get to the single crochet panel at the front, I'm just going to put a single crochet in each one of the rows. Then after this, I did a row of single crochets above this in black. As I say, this is completely optional. Also, if you would like, you can add some trimming around the bottom or around the cuffs. Right, and finally I sewed in my ends, and this is the final product.
So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at DivyneCrochet. I also have an Etsy store that I've just opened up, and DivyneCrochet as well, so you can give that a little look. Subscribe to this channel, do all the things, like it, yada yada yada. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video, which I've got a few ideas of stuff that I want to do. But if you have any specific requests, just let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.